the tragic deviation, the hidden veils of King's speeches in the long history of liberation movements. No leader has ever so fundamentally misguided their people as Martin Luther King Jr. Through his doctrine of integration and nonviolence, King achieved the impossible. He convinced and oppressed people to seek inclusion within, rather than independence from the system of their oppression. This unprecedented deviation from historical patterns of liberation has had devastating consequences that continue to plague African Americans today. I cannot reiterate enough that when Moses confronted Pharaoh, he didn't demand better treatment within Egyptian society. He didn't seek Egyptian citizenship rights for the Hebrews. His message was unequivocal: let my people go. The entire Exodus narrative, which God preserved as an eternal template for liberation, centers on complete separation from the land of bondage. Yet King, in direct contradiction to this divine example, preached integration into America, the very Egypt of our time. In his I Have a Dream speech, King declared, "I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood." Compare this to Moses, who never once suggested the Hebrews should seek brotherhood with the Egyptians. The very notion would have been seen as an abomination. Yet King made the spiritual compromise the centerpiece of his movement. When Malcolm X proclaimed, "Land is the basis of all independence," he was echoing a truth recognized by every liberation movement in history. The Irish independence movement understood this. The Indian independence movement understood this. The Vietnamese independence movement understood this. Even within America, the Native American resistance understood this fundamental truth. Yet King, being unique among all liberation leaders, rejected territorial and economic independence in favor of integration. Consider his mountaintop speech, delivered the day before his assassination. King spoke of having seen the promised land, but what kind of promised land was he envisioning? Being that his promised land didn't include black people on our own land, then what kind of promise did Martin Luther King really have in mind for black people? What kind of promise is involved for a people trying out a hybrid ridiculous liberation that doesn't include land? That's more like a curse than a promise, or a promise of eternally fighting for equality among a hateful, racist, violent, evil, pagan, and deadly people. Martin Luther King's promised land is only a promise of black people never having our own, never standing independently on our own, free, sovereign, and just as proud as all other races on earth. That's a curse that are turning away from the biblical example promises.